All righty, well, let's get started today. My name is David Tolkien. I am the Director of Business Development here at Shop-Ware. Welcome, everyone. We've got a great topic. I've been excited about this for a while, and judging from all of the activity that I've seen on Facebook, it should be a good presentation today. So we're talking about the Ultimate Toolbar, which is a piece of software that has been developed by Shop-Ware users to enhance some of the features that Shop-Ware has. So I've got Steve Wooten, the technical advisor at Ultimate Automotive and Truck and Equipment here, who's going to run us through everything. A couple housekeeping items. If you have any questions, feel free to put them down in the chat at the bottom, and we will make sure to answer them either throughout the presentation or at the end. This will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube, so if you have other employees or anyone that needs to watch it, they will be able to get access to it later. Without further ado, I'll intro Steve. Steve's been working in the automotive field since 1984, first as a general service technician and later as an electrical and diagnostic troubleshooting technician. At most of the facilities he's worked at, he's also assisted in the computer, customer service, and service writing. For the last 25 years, though, he's worked on the management side of auto repair and assisted the shop's technicians with problematic vehicles. He currently works, like I said, at Ultimate Automotive in Cromwell, Connecticut as the shop's technical advisor. And in this capacity, he was the one that actually researched and ultimately decided that that facility would be using Shop-Ware. He's actively involved in multiple companies in the auto repair industry. He's an independent consultant and trainer for Shop-Ware. He helps provide training and support to many of our customers. He's also on the Shop-Ware Customer Advisory Board, which meets multiple times throughout the year to discuss improvements. And he's also heavily involved in eAuto Club and works with them on their service intelligence product. Other related activities include feedback and support to 360 Payments, Parts Tech, and Carfax service history. On the personal side, he lives in a rural part of Connecticut in the town of Barkhamsted. In his free time, he spends time with his daughter Skylar and his girlfriend Abby. He enjoys roller skating, roller coasters, huge Disney fan. And interestingly enough, his family and extended family drive mostly only Subaru vehicles, and among the entire group have a total of about 25 of them. So that's his claim to fame if we ever see him in a Subaru commercial. So without further ado, I'm going to pass things over to you, Steve, and let you take control. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and you can take it away. Okay,
perfect. So a little bit of a recap of what Dave just told you. Yeah, I've been in the industry for a long time. We decided to move into Shop-Ware for service management almost 2 years ago. We went live in July of 2019. It's been a huge improvement to the productivity in the shop. And one of the things that we found is that it was missing a whole bunch of little key elements when we first signed up, because we do a lot of fleet work, and we had to find ways to make it work. And at the same time, how can we plug some of the holes? And what happened very recently is we were a RO Writer customer, and due to the lack of an oil change printer within the program, we were printing our labels from our writer. We still were able to open the program, and we would actually just enter the mileage and stuff and print it because we didn't have a standalone program. We had a computer that went down, and it was actually the general manager, who's also the person that does all the coding for this toolbar. And he could no longer access our writer to print labels from his computer. And we had two choices: either pay our writer $350 to pay 1 month of support fees to get that computer back up and running, or develop something. And that's basically what we did. He said, I'm sure we can come up with something. And that was the very infancy of the toolbar that you're going to see today, is the need to be able to print oil change stickers in our shop and not have crappy looking handwritten ones or whatever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen first, and it's going to start off with what everybody sees all the time, which is basically our normal view of.
Steve, real quick before you get started, do you want to give a little disclaimer here so everyone is
sure.
Okay.
Absolutely. So I was going to do this at the end, but I'm going to mention it now. This is by no means a Shop-Ware supported add-on. This is totally developed and supported by myself and Phil Cole, who's the general manager at our shop. Any problems with the actual toolbar or anything that affects it, should be directed to either myself, which in the chat, you'll see I've left my email there for you to contact me. Or when you go to the actual page to download it, Phil's email address is there as well. There could possibly be cases where the toolbar breaks Shop-Ware for you. And unbeknownst to us, we had one shop that actually had a problem because of the way we had coded something. Their shop had the toolbar installed on so many computers and they had so many tiles that were open. Shop-Ware's computer system looked at it as a denial of service attack because they got bombarded with request after request from the shop. That's been rectified, and we're actually working more closely with the developer of Shop-Ware so that those things should not happen. At the same time, we're trying to add as many new features that our beta group has asked for. And of course, if you decide to sign up for this, same thing. If you have suggestions, send an email. It's not a big deal. So that was the disclaimer. Shop-Ware does not support this. It is directly through us.
Great. Rock and roll.
So what we got is, this is the view that you always see. And one of the things that we always looked at is like, yeah, it's got a lot of information here. It's hard to read. Nothing's really bold. Nothing stands out. And what does everything mean? So we decided that we needed to come up with a better view. And quite honestly, when I first saw what Phil was doing, I'm like, I don't like this at all. I did not want to install it on my computer. I'm like, it's just terrible. It doesn't look great. I don't want it. And looking at it on his computer, looking at it on the dispatch board, it finally grew on me. And I'll tell you what, 4 or 5 months later, I can't live without it. So this is basically what we're looking at here. This is your normal screen that we were just looking at, and it's been modified with what we call the supercharged display. It makes everything bold that you really need to stand out. One of the important things that people don't realize is that there are 2 pieces of information that you can put in onto a repair order. There is the field that's called a label, and then there's a field that's called a status. They're very important to be used for certain things that are going to stand out for you. What you'll see here on the lines that are actually colored, that are at the very top of each one of these boxes, those are actually the labels. And we use that for things like we need to pick up the vehicle is dropped off, it's a loaner, the customer's waiting. So it's very prominent, it's color coded, they stand right out for us so that you know exactly what's going on with that vehicle that's coming into the shop or is in the shop currently. The next one down is actually our status, and we have some pretty simple statuses. We put our 3 most important ones for the techs to use at the very top so they don't have to scroll through a list. And those are basically their inspection is completed, they need more parts, or the vehicle is completed and ready to go. So they can grab one of those 3 and send it back to an advisor, and it has the correct status on it. So it's important that you're looking at your statuses and you're using stuff that makes sense. I know there are shops that use them for a lot of other reasons. That's great. You know, everybody has their own way of running a shop, but we're trying to enhance these particular fields that show up on these tiles. And if you use stuff that makes sense, it would actually enhance your experience with this. Other things that show up on here, you probably noticed that there's a very bold due 23 hours. It's bright red. That basically tells us when the vehicle has to be done, and that is your due out field on the repair order. I'm going to scroll down a little bit here, and you'll see that I think I've got one here that I can show you. Hold on. Trying to find one that should be flashing because it's overdue. Hold on a second. I do not have one that's overdue right now. So what would happen here is if this ticket was overdue right now, it would actually be flashing red. And it would have a negative amount of time. So again, it would flash to get your attention. Kind of like what you're probably seeing here in this field that says need. Need is actually your parts status, what's going on with the parts. Needed means that there's something that's needed for this ticket that never got ordered. So flashing red tells you, hey, pay attention to me, something needs to be addressed. So nobody forgets that this car needs to get parts ordered for it. We also overlay, if the parts are actually on order, you'll see OTW. It's just a quick abbreviation, so it can be bold and stand out. OTW stands for on the way. So you need to order it, you just place the order, it changes the status to being ordered, and we changed it to on the way, so it just stands out. It's 3 bold letters, makes sense for what's going on with the ticket. The other things that we've made bold and highlighted a little bit is the customer name, made this a little bit bigger, the vehicle that you're working on. And then this is actually the license plate field, which because we do a lot of fleet work, we have also added the unit number into the license plate number so that it becomes a searchable field that we can call up and find a vehicle by. So that's another thing that you may want to look at if you've got fleets and it's hard to find the vehicles. Put a few dashes in there and put the fleet number in after the plate, and you can find them that way. And this is pretty much everything we've got going here. One of the things that we're trying to work on that shows up in the service advisor section that does not show up in the technician view is this red text here that says note sample text. I'm going to show you that in a few minutes in the repair order we're working on. That is actually the RO note field, which will be the third one down on the right-hand side. That can be populated here, and it is normally by Shop-Ware. And I know people have asked about having a way to have a quick note about why the car is in the shop, because you can't always see the job lines. Unfortunately, that field does not populate when it's under the technician view. We're trying to find a way to surface that. It is not readily available in this tile, but we may be able to find it, and that could be a future add later on down the road to the technician tile. The other thing that we've got down at the bottom, which we felt was very helpful, is we made this kind of something that stands out. If there's job lines on this ticket that are not done and the technician just sent it to you that the vehicle's completed, we have a red thing here that says unfinished labor lines. That means this car is not really done. The technician did not check off all the boxes, and we need to send it back to him. We need to verify with him that it's done. Maybe it has unfinished labor lines because we're trying to quote some more stuff out and get more approvals. That's fine. But this would be a quick pop-up for you that he said it's done. How come it's got this thing on here that things aren't done? And I should be looking for that when I open the ticket. So we're trying to make sure that things don't get missed as you're writing the ticket, as you're closing out the ticket, as you're going through the ticket. The other thing that we have, let me just hold on one second. I'm trying to get my toolbar out of the way here. David, I don't seem to have an arrow on my toolbar for Zoom, and I can't get it out of my view.
Say that again.
I don't have the little arrow on my toolbar for Zoom, and I can't seem to get it out of the way of my tiles.
Oh, go down where it says like speaker, and you should be able to move it around. It's like very thin.
I got it. There we go. Yeah, usually there's an arrow and you can make it move, and it didn't want to move. So now I'm going to show you another view. This is almost exactly the same thing, but it's different. This is what's called our dispatch board view. And what you'll notice here is that there is no service advisor. There is no icon bar on the left-hand side. Everything that you do not need has been stripped out of here because we just want to show this on a board that nobody uses all day. And it's a way to actually track what's going on. What we have here is actually a status bar, which tells you that in this case, on the road service one, there's 13.25 hours remaining out of 16.2 hours that are billed on this vehicle. And this will actually continually go down this bar as things get completed. This is actually the feature that broke one of the shops because we were displaying this on every computer. And it was basically anytime this screen would change, so somebody moves a tile, every single computer would ask for a refresh on every single tile that was being displayed. And if you had 40 or 50 that were up times 5 or 6 or 7 computers, all of a sudden you were requesting Shop-Ware a refresh on like 190 different tiles, and it caused things to break. So we only display it now on the dispatch board. This should be a board that is not used as a computer. It should be a standalone that all you're doing is displaying your vehicles that are in the shop currently being worked on. And it will only refresh up to 40. So if you had 50, 60 tiles on there, it will only do the most prominent 40 based upon the top to the bottom. Most shops generally dispatch from the top down. So the one that's at the very top is the one the technician should be working on first, going down through. And basically this is designed so that the tiles will be all the way at the bottom for easy viewing. But as you add more tiles to this, so like in this case, Freddie has 6 tiles in his slot. So based upon the
Steve,
fact
I'm
that
not sure we can see, we don't see Freddie.
you cannot see Freddie over here, the 6th person.
No, we see Phil, Steve, Tina.
Okay, you're not seeing the screen that I'm on. Let me try this again.
Yeah.
You should see this screen right here, and let me see. We should be on this one.
No, we're not seeing the dispatch.
You're not seeing Eli, Dave, Dex, Jeremy?
Nope.
Let me go back a second. So you're seeing this one here with Phil, Steve, and Tina.
Yep.
All right, I'm going this tile. Did it change?
Nope.
Okay, let me close this tile for a minute. I'm gonna close the one we were on. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Do you see the dispatch board now?
Nope. Same thing as before.
Okay, this is really weird. It's not refreshing correctly.
Are you seeing it, but we're not seeing it? Try
Yep.
try
I'm gonna
stop
stop the share. I'm gonna share it again. Yep. Yeah, it's not changing not changing to the next tab. That's really weird. Okay, do you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. So for some reason, Zoom was being kind of funky
All
here.
right,
So
we're good. Go.
So what we've got here is, so you didn't see any of this. So this is our bar going across that says we have remaining time, and how much is remaining out of the total time. It automatically goes up based upon how many tiles are in the most person slot. So in this case, Freddie's got 5 tiles here. So he's all the way at the bottom of the screen and everybody else's get pushed up. Once a person has more than 5 or 6 tiles, they start falling off the bottom of the screen. So you won't see the additional tiles. It will shrink them a little bit, but it can only be shrunk so far, and then you lose them. So this is the dispatch board, shows a lot of the same information. This is actually in our office where the guys come to get their keys, where they come to pick up their parts. So basically they're walking by, they look up, they can see the repair order number, they know exactly which key number they should be grabbing, and it works very well. This is primarily what we use to track how much work is in the shop and when things are going to need to be get done and stuff like that. And we need to move a vehicle to another customer. I'm going to go on to an RO now, because this is where the toolbar actually shows up. We call it the toolbar, but the toolbar is actually on the repair order. So the toolbar is this piece in the middle right here. On a lot of the stuff that we're modifying, you will see our little logo here that's called the Ultimate Extension, just to signify that this is not stuff that's being done by Shop-Ware, it's stuff that's being done by us. Pretty much anytime you see colored text, that is something that is a function of the toolbar. But anything that's been added is stuff that will get flagged, just so you're aware of that. The first thing we've got is this little red thing below my name. That is the last time the person actually viewed the ticket. So if the customer logged in and looked at it, it will actually give you a time here. So you know exactly when they checked it last. You don't have to go over here to the log. It's not quite clear on mine because my name and my service advisor name are exactly the same. So it just assumes when I viewed the page that I'm the customer that looked at the page. But it specifically looks for the customer's name and looks for them to log in, and it grabs a timestamp and puts it here. So you know when they were here last. So if they visited 2 or 3 or 4 times, you can see when the last time is they were here. One of the things that people asked about was up here in this corner, this time that's in the corner of this box was not always clear. It is literally the last time this RO was transferred to somebody. So we put a little cent next to it. So last time this RO was sent to somebody was 10 hours ago. If I send it to the text now, it would say it was sent 1 minute ago. So that would actually signify when it was sent to the advisor, to the technician. Down at the very bottom, something that people had asked for before is, I know we use it all the time because of fleet, is subtotal, which is everything except for the sales tax. When we submit something to one of the fleet companies, they always ask what's the subtotal before tax, because they don't go to get an approval for tax because it's a given that they're going to have to collect sales tax on it. They just need to get an approval for the total amount before the sales tax. So this has been added here. It's also been added on the reporting page where you look at the daily invoices. There is a subtotal there right below the grand total so that you know what your total sales is on that particular day that you're running, or week or month. I'm scrolling back up here. I'm not going to show you the labels from this particular screen because you need to have a printer to be able to do that. I'm going to actually show you from my logged in session at my work computer, but I'm going to show you everything else, how it works. Service history is one of the things I've recently discussed with the programming team for Shop-Ware. It's great that we have it here, but if you want to find your service history, you've got to click left here. It opens up the tab. And now you need to either click left on the service history, which now opens the history in place of the page you're on, which is normally not desirable. Most shops would like to see the repair that they're on as well as the history. So the next step is you need to right click and then you need to left click on a new tab. Well, that's 3 clicks to get my history. First of all, the history shouldn't be hidden behind a button. Second of all, it should automatically open a new tab. So how do we make one left click? And it pops open a new tab and voila, my history should be coming up right now. So my history is now currently open for this vehicle and I have my RO still open as well. So you can flip flop back and forth between the two and you didn't lose what you're working on to go to the history. So that's one of the first features that we added here as a quick hit. I'm going to close that history window. And VIN is something that Shop-Ware had actually modified and they just brought back a fix. And this was based upon some requests from the advisory board on how to make it better. And one of the things that most of us need to see is either the last 6 or the last 8 in most cases. So they broke them out and they highlighted last 6. And if you need last 8, it's all of the highlighted stuff. But before they had rolled this out, we were already working on something. So we have something where you can hover over and you get the entire VIN. Hover over, you can get the last 6. Hover over, you can get the last 7 for those BMW people out there. Hover over, you can get the last 8. Well, how about instead of being able to copy the entire VIN, I click on 6 and it copies the last 6. Or I go over here to the last 8 and I click copy and it copies the last 8. Or I copy the last 7 or I copy the entire VIN. So you have an option of just hovering over to view it, or you can actually copy whatever portion of the VIN you choose to do so. So that's those are features that we were working on before Shop-Ware fixed the VIN, and I do know they have one more patch coming out in the next couple of weeks. It's rather minor, but another little patch. I think most users will probably still find that the VIN bar up here on our toolbar is probably beneficial, especially people that are working on BMWs that want the last 7 and want to be able to copy it. The last thing that is one click here, we've been using Service Intelligence from eAuto Club for 12 or 13 years now. It is actually a program that tracks every single service that you do, oil change, brake service, transmission flush, coolant flush, whatever it happens to be, and it ages it and automatically pops up and tells the customer when they're due to have the next oil change done based upon their actual mileage and the actual amount of time that they're driving the car. So we added this to it because we want to be able to access it without having to cut the VIN and then go to the page. So again, just like history, it is a one-click, open in a new tab, brings us directly to the Service Intelligence page for this vehicle. And it should load any second now. And so this is basically what the Service Intelligence report looks like. Anything that's up in the top in the red is things that are needed based upon our history and time and mileage and the fact that this customer drives a car 53 miles a day. Anything in the blue is stuff that's already been done and is not due again for a while, and it tells the customer when they are due again. And this is what we use 100% for our marketing. So the customer gets text, emails, postcards with this information there, and they call us up, and instead of asking for an oil change, this customer would probably call me up and say, hey, Steve, I need an oil change, but at the same time, it looks like I might need my transmission service and a differential service, and you probably should be looking at my brakes, and oh, by the way, why don't you do an Aquapel too? So that oil change for $75 now turned into $600 or $700 or $1,000 that I didn't even need to sell. They just want to take care of the stuff in red and take care of their car. So it is something that you can use. One of the things I've worked out with George from eAuto Club is anybody that's using our toolbar that chooses that they want to try Service Intelligence, they can get a 30-day free trial. And I can also get you a discount on a 1-year subscription if you choose to continue after the 30 days. No pressure, whatever you'd like to do, but it's an offer that's out there for you to at least try it if you want to. The other thing that our toolbar does, but not right here on the toolbar, is inventory labels for incoming parts. So I'm going to open my inventory tab here. Can everybody see my inventory tab that I've got? Okay. This is actually not specifically for my printing of my inventory labels, but it is actually a little bit more. So if you look at the very beginning of our description of our part, and I'm going to open this up so you can actually see it in a bigger view. In the brand, we started off, our brand is Pennzoil. We put in a few characters, and it is OV as in the letter OV capital. It has an underbar, and then it has a weight after it. You can configure this weight however you choose. It could be 5 lowercase W20, it could be 5 uppercase W20. But if you put these characters in front of the brand of your oil, when you go to do an oil change sticker, it will auto-populate your oil change sticker with the grade of oil that you're using based upon the part that's billed on the ticket. We are also working on a way to possibly populate the mileage interval and the date interval that you want to show up on the sticker based upon the can job or possibly the part. But it's a little complicated at this point, and it's going to be a future enhancement. But it would be great if those fields could auto-populate when you go to print a sticker. And that's what we're going to try to do. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop this share, and I'm going to share with you on my work computer because I have the label printers there. And this way I can show you what I've got going on. This right here. And you guys see a window that has Phil, Steve, and Tina on it at this point?
Yep, we're good.
Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do is, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open my repair order that we were looking at before, because my car actually has an oil change on it, and it's going to populate the toolbar for us. And the first thing that you're going to do when you check the customer's vehicle in is you're probably going to want to print a key tag. So I'm going to click on the key tag button, and it's going to automatically pop open a window with a preview in it. And this label doesn't look quite right. One of the problems that we run into is we're running 2 of the same exact printers. They're both brother label printers. And Windows does not understand that if you have 2 different printers that use the same driver, it should grab the printer that you want. We're still working on a way to do that, but basically you'll see up here, it says it's going to the oil change printer. I don't want that one. I want my label printer. So I'm going to change it to label, and you'll see the label now change to something that makes sense. This dashed line right here is where you would fold it over the top of the label. This was designed to use the poly labels that you can buy from Idea or a lot of the other supply places. We used to handwrite with a Sharpie on there and to throw them away when we're done. We now buy the labels and put the labels, buy the key tags, put the labels over them, and we get 4 or 5 on there. We peel the labels off and just keep reusing these key tags over and over and over again. So it's reduced the amount of key tags that we're buying and allows us to reuse them over and over again. Fields that are here, RO number, year, make, model of the vehicle, customer's last name. Those are all on the front of the vehicle. If this had a unit number for a fleet, you would have a unit number here at the bottom. On the flip side, there are a couple of different choices you can choose during the setup, and I'll show you what they are. We choose odd or even and last digit. So if you look at the last 2 digits here, 70, 7 is odd, 0 is the last digit. So we have a key rack that has 20 key hooks, 0 through 9 odd, 0 through 9 even. This key should be on the odd 0 key rack. So when the technician goes looking for it, oh, I've got 7, 0. I got to go look on odd and 0. Oh, there's my key. That's the one I'm looking for. We also have it print the date and time that you actually printed the sticker, which is going to be roughly your check-in time. So now you've always got a reference on those keys. How long was this vehicle here? You have it right on the key tag, and those are populated automatically. We're going to go back here again, and I'm going to go to the oil change sticker and kind of show you the same thing. You'll notice it auto-populated with 0W20 SIN, and that is because if I scroll down here into my oil change, you'll see that the part that is billed here says OV underbar 0W20 SIN. So grab the very first characters that were after the OV underbar. and that is my oil description. Recommended mileage, it remembers mileages that you put in before. So I'm going to say I want 5 and I want 5 months, and it will remember your comments. So I'm going to say thank you. Again, I'm going to click print. It's going to be bringing me to my page again, and you'll see it defaulted to the last brother printer that I chose, which is my front label printer. I'm going to go back to my oil change printer, and you'll see that it has my logo, my address, my phone number. It has the oil that I put in there on it. Services recommended, the new mileage, which is 5,000 miles later, the new date, which is 5 months later. Thank you. And when the technician can't figure out what vehicle this has to go on, the RO numbers at the bottom of the sticker as well. There is a option, which has not been fully debugged, to put a barcode, a actual QR code on the sticker. So the customer could literally, when they're due for an oil change, take their phone, put it up to the sticker, and it would bring them right to your set an appointment page, and they can book an appointment right from their phone based upon your oil change sticker and the barcode that's on it, the QR code. That is currently being beta tested in our shop. It still has some bugs, and fitting everything on the label is a little bit challenging. So we want to make sure we're not overwhelming the customer with too much information, but at the same time, making it easy for them. And I'm going to go to the inventory section. This is the labels that we can print out for inbound parts. It specifically looks for anything that says ordered. So basically what I've got is a filter turned on right now, everything that's on order. And this vendor is not one of my preferred vendors in the bottom, so I can't check a box. So I type GABR for Gabrielli because that is my supplier. And it's showing me all the parts that I have on order from Gabrielli Truck. And these are my stickers that I'm going to print out to be able to put on there. I go up here, you can see our icon, it says print, and it's going to pop open another window. And basically, you'll see Phil's put a note here, it's beta, we're still working to make this better, but basically you're going to go on the left-hand side and you are going to select the items that you do not want to print. So let's say, for example, there was stuff on here that's doesn't really have a spot on the shelf. You ordered it for a truck or something. I could just go up here and say, I don't want that. I don't want this. I don't want this. And I don't want these 4074s at the bottom. And they're all gone. So now I just want to print these stickers off of this. I click print. And again, I'm going to switch it back to my label printer. And that's not my label printer. That's my phaser. I need my label printer. And you'll see it now shows my labels with the part number. What's the part called? Who'd it come from? What time and date did I actually receive this part? So if you got parts that have been on the shelf for 5 years, you're going to know it because this sticker is going to show that this has been on the shelf for a while. If this was a stocking part, which these happen to not be, the location, if you have one, would go right here, whatever your location number, and that would print on the sticker as well. So you know where to go put it on the shelf. So those are all the things that you can actually print from within Shop-Ware with the toolbar. What I'm going to do for you now is I'm actually going to show you how the settings work and how things get set up. And I'm going to bring you back to my computer to do that so I don't mess up mine at work. And we will stop that share. And we're going to bring you back to this screen here. Okay, so we should be back at this screen right here. I'm going to go to the puzzle piece, and there's directions on the landing page to tell you how to do this. But for pretty much, this is a Chrome extension. You need to actually click on the puzzle piece, and you can click on Manage Extensions. And it will pop open a window here. And the first thing that you need to do is up in the top right corner, there's a button that says Developer Mode. You need to turn it on. Otherwise, you can't actually add an extension to this thing. This is actually the extension that's installed right now. I'm actually going to remove it so that we have no extension installed. And you'll see it's not there at all. You're going to actually download the file from the page that I'm going to give you. And we suggest putting it on your desktop. Once you put it somewhere, you cannot move it. It needs access to the files that are in this folder all the time in order for it to work. So put it someplace where it's not going to get changed. If you got a location in a save directory or whatever, by all means, put it where you want. We put it on the desktop so that it's easy to find. Basically, you go to the top left button, which says Load Unpacked, and it's going to pop open with a window asking you where it is. So I'm going to actually tell it that it's on my desktop. And there it is right there. It's going to ask for what folder I'm looking for. I want the folder that says Ultimate Extension, and I select my folder. So now this is actually going to be installed, and you see that it's right here. This is actually an on-off button. If you just wanted to turn it off and not use it, you don't have to install it. You can just turn it off right here, and it would be gone. It will not appear at all, and you could very easily come back in and turn it on again. Then what you need to do is you go back to the puzzle piece, and you'll notice that Ultimate Extension is here, but you really want to click on the pin button so that it shows up on your bar up top so you have access to it. And now you'll see that there's our little logo right on the top, right next to the puzzle piece. And this is going to be the window where you configure what you want to do. And these are all the settings that are available to you. First thing, if you are using a blank sticker using the Brother printer, which we would suggest, you're going to want to choose a file. I'm going to go in and choose my file. And again, I'm going to point it at my directory. I'm already there at the desktop. There's my logo that I want to put in. It shows me a preview of what it looks like. And you'll note that it says the max size is 175 pixels wide by 55 pixels tall. So you definitely want to make sure you resize it so it works correctly. If you're using pre-printed labels, you can actually click on here where it says printed logo. It will actually move everything down by 3/4 of an inch, so we won't be printing over the top of your logo. Most logos on the pre-printed ones are roughly 3/4 of an inch tall, so this will move it down and get you off the logo where it starts printing. If you're using a logo, whether it's pre-printed or a logo that you're putting on, don't use the company name. It's going to add way too many stuff there, too many fields there. At the same time, don't use two address fields if you don't need to. Believe it or not, I can go like this: 551 Main Street, Cromwell, CT, all in one line, and it works perfectly. You could add a website address if you want. We add our phone number, format the way you want to. QR code, you'll see it says it's in beta. You can turn it on. You can put a link there. You can try it out. No troubleshooting with it right now because we have not worked out all the bugs. But if you want to play with it, you feel adventurous, by all means, the option is there to play with it. Under service, you have some options. Do you want to print when it's due next? Do you want to print when it's done? Or do you want to just turn off the date and mileage entirely and just put a sticker up there that, hey, this is the oil in your car? You have those options to be able to do that. Portrait and landscape are there because some people have zebra printers that print labels. Instead of coming out of the printer vertically, they come out in landscape mode, and you need to change it to landscape mode so it prints correctly. And it all depends what programmer you were using to print it before. So you have the option of doing portrait or landscape. Play with it, figure out which way it needs to go to make it work. Up here on the top right, we have your view options. This is where you can turn on or off the supercharge or dispatch view. Supercharge is the updated advisor view, which gives you the text and the advisors. Dispatch, you only want to be using that on your dispatch board. You have no access to menus. You have no access to scroll bars. You have no access to advisors at all. So that is designed to be on a stationary board that will refresh automatically for you. Then you have the option of copy options of full, 8, 7, or 6. You can turn any or all of them on or off. And it says VIN copy, but that is VIN copy and hover over. It will not give you a button for any of those options if you do not check it off. If you use Service Intelligence, you can turn this on and it will enable the button for Service Intelligence. If you want to do a 30-day free trial, right now, I'm going to suggest that you email me directly and I will make sure we get hooked up with George and get you set up for a 30-day free trial. Key tags on the back. We do odd and even. Some people said they'd like to see the last name on it. Last name's already on the front, so I don't see a real reason for that. But if that's what you choose to do, that is an option that we've been asked for, and we put that in there. One of the big things that's very important is, I'm going to go back into a printer in a minute and show you something. There's 2 ways that you can change settings on printers. When the print dialog pops up within the Google window, the Chrome window, and you're going to print, it looks exactly like a Windows print dialog. It is, except for one thing. Windows does not allow you to write back to the profile within Windows. So if you make any changes in the box that pops up when you're going to print, it will not save those changes. You actually have to go into the printer settings in control panel under printers and devices and change it there for it to save. It is a security issue with Windows not letting Chrome write back to the hardware device area. So make sure that you go back and change any settings that you need permanently in the Windows, actually the drivers. And it is important that you make sure that you turn margins off so that it will print correctly, because we've designed this so that it should scale automatically to full size on the page that you're using, whether it be a label, a full sheet of paper, a vinyl label, or whatever. Of course, the most important thing is save settings before you leave this page. Otherwise, none of the stuff that you did will work, and it will pop up and tell you that the settings have been saved. You'll notice there's a click here button. It's a quick reference for you to get a hold of Phil. It will actually pop up, and it should be popping open an email window. It pops open an email window automatically with your email client that you're using.
Don't see that. Oh, now we see it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually just going to close that. I want to show you how it worked, but it does pop open your email client. It is also on the page that you're going to go to download this. So Phil's email address is there. My email address is actually in the chat section, which is where I'm going to direct you after we've answered questions. Basically, any questions, any concerns, we want feedback. If things don't work right, we're going to try and help you work through them. Some of them are very simple problems. Some of them are a little more complex, but we will walk you through the stuff as needed so that you can get the stuff that you need working on your computer. The other thing is I'm going to actually bring you to that page right now so that you can see it. Phil sent me the link to the current page. Where we go? Can you see this new page that has popped up that has the Ultimate extension on it?
Yeah, we see work order 44,670. Now we see.
Perfect. Okay. So this is kind of a preview on the right of what it's doing. It kind of fades in, fades out. So as I said, this is the zip file that you would be downloading. You're going to put that on your desktop. And then these are the very basic instructions that I went through with you step by step, going through each one of those options. If something doesn't work, by all means, reach out to me and let me know, or reach out to Phil and let me know. We want to make sure that things will work. Printers that we're suggesting is any Brother QL printer that supports DK Media, which is currently QL570, the 600 series, the 700 series, the 800 series. If you want to go cheap, we've got 4 QL570s. You can buy them used on eBay. They work absolutely perfectly, even though they're used. You can pay like 35 bucks for them, and they work. If you want to go all out and you want to basically put one of these out and have it be wireless, you can buy, I believe it's either a QL810 or a QL820. It's 100% wireless. You can also buy a battery pack if you wanted to not have it plugged into a wall. So there's lots of options from really cheap all the way through really expensive. The media that you would need to buy is DK1201, which is basically a standard size address label. And then the DK4205, which is a continuous feed piece of media, which is a really long sticker. It is removable adhesive, so it sticks really well to the window, way better than the vinyl clingies. But at the same time, if you need to pull it off, it comes off and none of the adhesive stays on the window. So it's a really cool alternative to what we've been using in our industry for a really, really long time. And the resolution on these printers is just awesome. You put your logo on it, and aside from it being all black, it looks really nice compared to some of the stuff that's actually out there. So those are our suggestions. Not absolutely necessary that you use these printers, but we're suggesting it because they seem to work. And like I said, Phil's email address is right here on the bottom. So you can always reach out to him. I'm actually going to take a look at the chat real quick and see what we got for some questions here.
I think we got to most of them.
Got it. So basically what I'm looking at here, is if you're interested in getting the extension, please send me an email. My email is actually in the chat. I'll let you know. It's my first name and last name, 65@gmail.com. So pretty easy. Sending me an email with your shop name, your name, contact information, a phone number, just in case we need to touch base via phone or whatever. We're offering this as a try as you go thing. If you like it, we would request that you please give us a donation. Suggested donation is a minimum of $100. Phil has spent a lot of time in this. I've spent a lot of time in this. We want to continue to improve it. If it gets to a point where we're supporting a lot of people and nobody's sending any money, it will break and you'll have to take it out and not use it anymore. We just had an issue last week when they rolled out the VIN update. The toolbar disappeared. It was back up and running by 9:30 in the morning on the East Coast. So anybody that was on the West Coast, all they needed to do was download the new version, reinstall it, and everything was working perfectly fine. Anybody that was on the East Coast, they were without the printer for the labels, for the key tags and the oil changes for about an hour and a half in the morning while we got it fixed. And that's basically what you're paying a donation for, is to make sure that Phil and I can take care of this and make sure that we support it for you guys and roll out new features as we can. One of the things that we cannot do, we cannot add anything to a page that is not currently supported unless it's easily grabbed. One of the reasons why the hours are not on the main board, only on the dispatch board, is every single one of those is a live calculation that Shop-Ware needs to do on the fly in the background before it hands back the information. So it's not like I can go out and grab that there's 5 hours billed and there's 2 hours clocked in. I actually have to go out and say, Shop-Ware, please tell me the information for this repair order, and it hands it back to me. So it is, we want to make sure that we're not impacting their servers with any excess traffic. So certain things we may be able to add, certain things we may not be able to, but at the same time, they're trying to work with us and surface the data that we need to give you the add-ons if they're not ready to supply it themselves. I do know dollars and hours is on the timeline to be implemented. It's quite a ways out. I don't even want to venture a guess. I'm going to tell you it's at least 9 months to 12 months out before you're going to see it on the actual Shop-Ware product. But they are working on it because they've heard everybody wants to know exactly what's going on in their shop, how many hours, how many dollars are going on. So it is being worked on, but I think we'll have a solution for you first before it's populated directly by Shop-Ware. Looks like there is a Q&A down here. Carfax, interesting thing. So Carfax, yes, there is an option for us to turn it on. I'm having a challenge with Carfax. I've had 2 people from Shop-Ware reach out to their contacts at Carfax. I've been in direct contact with 2 people, and they don't seem to want to work with me to get a direct link. I cannot seem to find a way to both open their window and hand off the VIN number to the window that opens because of some kind of security they got working in the background. So we are trying to work on it. I would love to have a one-click open, and we've got Carfax, but at least for the time being, if you've got your Carfax window open, you can click the VIN, one click, and go over and put it into Carfax and just press enter. I mean, it's not the best ideal situation, but it is an option for now. And look at that. Okay. Any other questions that anybody has? By all means, let me know.
All right, Steve, I appreciate it. I don't see anything else coming in right now. This will be posted to our YouTube channel probably Monday, so anybody can access it from the YouTube channel. And if you guys didn't get his email or you have any other questions, my email goes out with all of these webinar registration links, so you can always email me and I can put you in contact with Steve. Really appreciate your time today, Steve. I know you're a busy person and you've got your own responsibilities aside from your from your job and from building software. So I really appreciate that.
Well,
And
we wanted to share something that we developed that we thought would be really useful for other users, and that's why we started with. I think we had about 18 beta users that tried it and gave us feedback, and you're finally seeing the finished product, which is not totally finished because we plan on adding more stuff to it.
Steve, one question, can you talk about the notes line issue in the job flow tiles?
So the notes are populated automatically in the bottom on the advisor section. It is on the tile, it's there. And that would be the number 3 note. So you've got the customer, the vehicle, and then the RO notes. So the first 3 on the top right. That is populated as a field for the advisors on the bottom of the workflow board. It is not populated for the technician section because Shop-Ware has decided that they want to show job lines and they want to show what job line the technician happens to be punched in on, which I agree makes sense, but we're trying to find a way to populate that particular field because I know people have asked about, I wish there was a place I could put a quick note that this is here for an oil change and brakes. Look for that in the future. I just don't know how easy it's going to be to implement and how quickly we can get that implemented.
Awesome, thank you. All right, well, I guess that is all the questions. So once again, I'll thank you, Steve, and I will let you enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks everyone for attending. We've got a great webinar next week as well. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but you should definitely check it out. And I guess we'll just end it on that note. Thanks again, Steve. Everyone have a great day and take care.
Perfect. Thank you.